Hello, and welcome to Picture This, a podcast from the photo archives of the Albuquerque Museum. My name is Jill Hartkey, and I'm the curator of digital collections at the museum. In these Picture This podcasts, we usually discuss the story behind the photograph, but today we're going to tell the story of the photograph. Traditional photography involves applying a light-sensitive chemical mixture called emulsion to a surface such as glass or film and exposing it to light. It's a chemical process that allows the image to appear, but can also destroy it. Photographs naturally deteriorate over time, altering the original image, and sometimes creating a fascinating new one. There are over 2,000 glass plates in the photo archives of the Albuquerque Museum, and the condition of each glass plate can tell us a lot about its life, how it was made, how it was stored, and how it was cared for. Some common condition issues we see in our glass plates are breaking, delamination, flaking, and silver mirroring. Glass plate negatives are not a common sight these days, so the ones we're highlighting in our collection are generally 5 inches by 7 inches and were made between 1890 and 1920. These are dry plate negatives, purchased from a supplier with a dried emulsion coated on the plate. They could be stored until use by the photographer. Most of the glass plate negatives we're highlighting were created by Cobb Studio, which opened in 1890 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Like other photography studios at the time, husband and wife duo William and Eddie Cobb worked primarily with dry plate negatives. Now, we don't know who the Cobbs bought their glass plates from, but there were several options, including Eastman Company, which later became Eastman Kodak in Rochester, New York. There were also several companies in St. Louis making dry plates at the time. Sometimes the glass used to create the plate had weak spots. Glass is likely to break if it's dropped, but a weaker plate may shatter. For places like Albuquerque, where glass plates were supplied from hundreds of miles away, boxes of glass plates traveled bumpy railway networks or roads, and the shock may have caused the glass to chip or break. The broken ones would not have been used in the camera, and so are not likely to be in our collection. After exposure in the camera, it's possible that the glass plate was stored in a place where it was bumped, or another object was placed on top of it and it broke. This portrait of Amalia and Louisa Severin, taken in August 1916, is one of our more dramatically shattered glass plates. The glass may have been weak to begin with. It may have been dropped several times. It might have been bumped or jostled in storage, or all of those things might have happened. Broken plates still hold valuable historic images, and whenever possible, we carefully piece them together and scan them to preserve and share the photograph. There is something magical about piecing a broken plate together and watching an image reappear more than a century after it was taken. The emulsion on the glass that reacts with light in the camera to make an image appear is a stickler for temperature and humidity. Kind of like Goldilocks in the House of the Three Bears, the emulsion needs an environment that is not too hot or too cold and not too dry or too wet. If a glass plate negative is stored in an environment that is not perfectly suited to the emulsion, the picture can start to separate from the glass. This is called delamination. It will look like the image is stretching and bubbling. Delamination can happen because of a flaw in the glass, but it most often occurs because of extreme temperature and humidity changes. When we look at this glass plate showing students at Albuquerque Indian School, we can see that it spent much of its life in an environment with little climate control. The glass plate expanded and contracted with the seasons as it froze and thawed, stretching the image and creating bubbles in the photograph where the emulsion is no longer attached to the glass plate beneath. Now imagine a wall with strips of peeling paint. That paint comes loose and falls off because of moisture and temperature fluctuations. Flaking of a photograph on a glass plate is caused by the same thing. As glass expands and contracts with humidity and temperature changes, anything stuck to that glass will have to stretch or break. Over time, air becomes trapped between the emulsion and the glass, making bubbles. And in dry climates like New Mexico, the image can become brittle and may start to peel away and flake off. When we see flaking, we know the glass plate has experienced extreme temperature and humidity shifts, probably stored for years in a garage or shed with little to no climate control. The emulsion on the glass plate is made with silver metal suspended in a gelatin substance. When dirt and oil from your hands gets into that gelatin, that silver can oxidize and it starts moving toward the surface. This is called silver mirroring. Think about antique mirrors you might see at a thrift store. The mirrors sometimes have those dark dots on the metal surface, and no amount of cleaning will get them off. That's the same effect as we see on our glass plate negatives. But our hands aren't the only culprit here. The mirroring can also be caused by high humidity or contact with acidic materials like newspaper or cardboard. In this glass plate portrait of two women taken around 1895, the silver mirroring affects the eyes of the woman on the right. It gives a very spooky effect, altering the image, but also telling us something about the life of the plate. That silver mirroring is happening in a mostly horizontal line across the center of the plate, pointing to direct contact with an acidic substance rather than humidity or oils that might have a broader silver mirroring effect. It might be that this plate was stored upright and slightly leaned against the edge of a cardboard box. Each plate deteriorates differently, making entirely new and interesting images on these old plates. Breaking, delamination, flaking, and silver mirroring are commonly seen in the glass plates within the photo archive, but we also find the effects of water damage, scratches, fingerprints, and well-intentioned attempts to repair damage with glue and tape. Now, the issue with tape and glue is that they're both chemical substances, and adding them to an ongoing chemical process can cause new reactions, like yellowing or browning of the image. It's hard to undo the damage caused by tape and glue to a glass plate, so it's best to leave broken plates in pieces whenever possible. We keep these glass plates in the collection to have examples of the full life cycle of glass plate negatives. They're important to the history of photography, but a fading, flaking fragment can also reveal information about historical details of a place or a person, as well as the chemical processes used to make the photograph. This is a glimpse into the world of photo archiving and what we do with one format of images in our care at the Photo Archive of the Albuquerque Museum. We dive into this topic in our current exhibit called Beauty in the Breakdown, which is on view until March 29th, 2026. But we will keep these beauties in their various states of breakdown in the Photo Archive collection for many years to come. Thank you for joining us for Picture This with the Albuquerque Museum. Please join us next time for the story behind another photograph in the museum's collection.